What's going on, babe?
Hey, babe, how was your day?
It was actually pretty productive. Happy to be home.
Good. You know, we got a game today. Honey, a little rough around the edges.
I'm saying, I've been working all night, taking care of business, getting to the... You know what? I don't even want to talk about it. I got you. I'm not trying to be out here looking like a dusty, and that's why I'm excited to have T. Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. They help me start and maintain my skincare routine by making the entire process uncomplicated. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for guys like you and me. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which come with all of the basics: a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin, a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. My favorite part about Teach Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teach Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price and the ability to customize your box. And because Teach Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description. You'll get 30% off your first box plus a free gift. Click the link and get started today. We taking care of ourselves. Self-care, fellas, is the first step to be able to get to that bag, to take care of business, and be on top of things and level up in every aspect of your life. Feel the Teach, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. First, let me give a shout out to Kojak. Kojak, I have known Kojak since high school. So first and foremost, let me give a shout out to Kojak. Kojak said, we got to modify that. I got a new computer. I'm working with it. Don't worry about it, ladies and gentlemen. We are working with it. We're going to figure it out. Kojak says, God is good. Just got admitted as a professional member at large at the National Organization of Black Engineers. Can we get a round of applause for the bag chasers? Kojak is in the building. Shout out to Kojak. Love you, big dog. Glad that you got admitted to the National Organization of Black Engineers. And over at the Bag Chasers, we like to celebrate our folks. Shout out to Kojak. Absolutely, positively awesome. Thank you for rocking with us. We need to give just as much energy to the awesome things and the great things that's happening when people are winning as we do to the things that may be toxic and that we hold people accountable for. So as an equal accountability partner, we have to be equally accountable for the good things as well as the bad. So shout out to Kojak. We celebrate the bag chasers. I appreciate you, big dog. So before we get started, let me go ahead and say this. All right. Shout out to Teach Hanley. How about we get the housekeeping out of the way? Shout out to Teach Hanley. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. That link is in the description. Matter of fact, it is not updated. Let me make sure that link is updated because we got the August numbers in. Teach said, listen, we love y'all. We love everything that y'all got going on. So we got Teach popping. Teach is in the building. So that number is updated. Shout out to Teach Hanley. Teach is a longtime sponsor of the show. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. The link is in the description for you to be able to get your Teach pack. Update your browser. Or not update your browser. Refresh your browser to get the August link so that you can get all of the benefits that come along with Teach, all right? Secondly, shout out to Kojak. Shout out to the Bag Chasers. I have an update posting in the Patreon today. What day is it? The first of the month. And on the first of the month, that is the best day for you to join the Patreon. Let me say it one more time. The best day of the month. It is August. It's about to be fall. I got some new deals on the table. Listen, let me show you something. When I got new deals, Rita was sending me some text messages today. All right. She was like, yo, I got some new deals on the table. She's sending me estimates. That's down here. Let me see if I can turn that down a little bit. She's sending me estimates. Jesus. Of people sending me their home reports. It's a lot going on out in these streets, and we are chasing every single bag. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm off all of this stuff. I'm over it. I'm off of it. We'll get to that in a minute. Shout out to the bag chasers. Link to the Patreon is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. The best day to join the Patreon is the first day of the month. You get the most value. The second best day is tomorrow. The best day to join the Patreon is on a Monday on the first of the month. It is the best opportunity for you to align yourself with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in. Click the link in the description as well as pin to the top of the chat. It's only one tier left, okay? We got the new website that is about to be launched. We building businesses. We got the mastermind sessions. I am dropping today the new location of where we're doing a Patreon meetup. So every single month I fly to a different location, weather dependent. We did Los Angeles. We just came from New York, literally like a week and a half ago. We did Atlanta. We did Los Angeles. We did New York. We did DC. We did Houston. We did Miami. We traveled all over the freaking United States just to make sure that we pouring into people, and we might have something internationally coming up. I also want to tell y'all something else too. So in the Patreon, one thing that me and Rita had been kicking around for an extended period of time before we got bogged down with all of the different business things and pouring into y'all and meeting y'all and all of that, right? We had been kicking around, and for those of you that's been around for a little while, we have been talking about a Patreon retreat. A bag chasers retreat. Now, I'm also considerate of what's going on in the economy with inflation and the recession and things like that. So I'm trying to always make sure that I'm adding the most value to people because I don't want you guys spending money on something before we get to the bag. We let our assets pay for what it is that we do for fun. And then we look at things from a business perspective, and then we write that whole thing off because we actually are going to take care of business at this Patreon retreat. So we want to give people a whole lot of runway, and we planning that out. One of the things that I want to discuss in the Patreon not in the next live stream, because we're going to do the build a business in the next live stream. But in one of our future live streams coming is that I want you guys to participate in what that Patreon retreat is going to look like. Where we going? We going out the country? We staying in the country? We going to have good food? We're going to have everything. Listen, when I say me and my people going to be doing it up, we're going to have a good time. We're going to discuss business. We're going to bust down these bags. And we're going to have drinks and phenomenal experiences. That's my plan for y'all. When I'm building my community, we celebrate, we live, laugh, love. We work hard, but we're going to make sure that we elevate and continue to win and get to this money. So that's coming up. I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of a preview. I'm going to talk about it more in the update in the Patreon today. The updates is changing also, so I want to make things more interactive. I know some people are more visual than they are as far as reading the different things that we post. So in the update today is going to be a video update of everything that's coming, all of the changes, the new information, updates on what's going on with the build a business, everything. So look forward to that today. That is absolutely awesome. Housekeeping out of the way. Last housekeeping thing. I am going to be in Atlanta doing a Lapeef Let's Talk experience. That is going to be Friday and Saturday of this week. All right. So get your tickets, go over to the Lapeef Network, click on any video in the description. It has the Lapeef experience link for you to be able to purchase tickets, to stream it, whatever. I am going to be there. Rita's going to be there. We're going to have a good time. All right. So housekeeping is out of the way. Let me see what's going on. Yeah, I got a lot of things coming. I'm always working to make sure that y'all are getting the most value possible. So this week, ladies and gentlemen, and if you need to kick it with me personally, email me at Anton Daniels 413@gmail.com and set up a personal session. I do Zoom calls. I do personal calls, all of that. But we booking like close to a month out right now. So we booking for September right now. So please stop delaying because you're just going to be a whole another month out the more you delay. But what was I saying? I don't know. Anyways, I'm walking around this weekend, and as I'm continuing to buy assets, my biggest problem personally, and we going to do a normal traditional show. This week, we talking relationships and money. Specifically, your personal relationship with money. How does that affect you on a regular basis? Today, we're going to tackle this buy now, pay later epidemic, and then we're going to get into the video of reviewing. I got a specific video in which we're going to talk about a black guy that's making $140,000 a year. He living abroad versus here, and he's comparing the experiences. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to review that video. We're going to add value. I want to make sure that it all comes back to the money, right? But my biggest problem is how many assets can I buy? I mean, back in 2008, take this journey with me. Back in 2008, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that bothered me the most was that I already had predicted where the market was going to go as far as it being cyclical. And I talk about this all the time. I say, hey, everything is cyclical. If you be patient, you'll have another buying opportunity that's absolutely going to be awesome. And that's where all of the millionaires are made, right? And then everybody else, they say, no, Anton, where our hair is on fire, we got to fear of missing out, FOMO. And so they all rush in and they all do dumb things and they make emotional decisions, and then they pay high interest rates and they get bad deals and they forego the inspection process when it comes to real estate, and they jump into businesses. And instead of going slow so that you can run really fast, they run really fast and then they have to slow down. And not only do they have to slow down, it costs them an exponentially egregious amount of money just to learn the lesson, which is one of the reasons why in the Patreon, what we're doing is building a business, and I'm letting the people learn based off of my money so that they don't have to go to a university, get a whole bunch of student loan debt, right? Or go out and start a business and have to learn a lesson that way, because life experiences is the best teacher. How can we combine the two? How can you get somebody that's actually been through it multiple different times, teach you what the game is, give you everything that you need in order to be successful, and he's funding it so that you have every tool in your arsenal to be successful? And that's why I don't want to hear anything about running in the Victim Olympics. I don't want to hear anything about opportunity. I don't want to hear anything about what it's going to cost you, because you have the opportunity of a lifetime right in front of you, and it's joining a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in. Make sure you tap into the Discord once you join the Patreon. But my biggest problem is completely different than what my problem was in 2008. Because in 2008, when everything was messed up and nobody had money, I'm like, man, look at all of this depressed, collapsed, ideal real estate opportunities, stocks, everything like that. I wish I could buy more. I wish I could do more. I wish I could do more. And so I was able to capture some of that as I was going, and I just worked really, really hard, and I threw every single thing I had into investments, in addition to businesses, right? And so it's paid off handsomely, but it didn't make me a billionaire like I wanted to be a billionaire, right? I really, really want to buy the Pistons. That's my goal. That's my goal. I want to buy the Pistons, and I want to encourage you. I want to give you some vigor, motivation. I want you to start looking at things differently, and that's why we're doing relationships and money, because I believe that your relationship with money is similar to your relationship with your girl, and the relationship with your daughter, and a relationship with your friends, and your relationship with your job. It's toxic. You are what you attract. People say, man, it ain't no great people out here. And that's partially because you are the common denominator for the people that you surround yourself with. You are a reflection of your group. You're a reflection of your network, which is one of the reasons why we're trying to change you. We're trying to impact you. Light and darkness can't exist in the same space. So in 2008, I had this thing. I'm like, oh my God, look at all of this. I know all of this. I've been reading, studying, but I'm not all the way where I need to be in order to capitalize off of this. I don't know how long this is going to last. And we're experiencing a similar thing now, in which we're at the beginning stages of what some would identify as a recession, and that there's a contraction in the market, and not only in the market, but the economy, for more than one quarter. And then that's officially designated as a recession. But a lot of people are already going through the recession prior to the federal government designating it, right? You got inflation running high. I've been teaching you all about that. I've been beating that in y'all head. Y'all should know inflation inside and out. Y'all should understand it. You should understand how your money is being affected by it. And nobody should have a savings account, okay? And so the problem that I have today is that it's so much opportunity, and I'm just trying to figure out how much I can buy up. I'm moving money around because money is its own language, right? Deals are literally coming to my doorstep every single day. I can't get rid of enough money. So much so to where it's affected my mindset, and that I'm like, yo, I need to be more of a minimalist because I don't even care about stuff anymore. You buy so many assets, so much real estate, so many businesses doing all of this type of, it's so much happening to where, listen, I went in my garage and it's like 150 something pair of shoes that I've never even worn. And I got more pairs coming this week. I said, we got to get rid of this stuff. Went in my closet, it's clothes that I've never worn, $1,000 shirts and all of this stuff. And I got cars that I've never driven and things like that. And even though they're all business vehicles, the point still remains is that once you get to a certain space in your life, and we're supposed to grow, we're supposed to evolve, we're supposed to continue to become better versions of ourselves. Once you get the money and then you celebrate the money and you realize you have an options and you're doing it legally, and we all love that. We ain't even talking about the scammers and none of that. That's dead. That's not Bag Chasers University content. We talking about once you start getting it legally, you start getting that bag. I've been teaching y'all all last week about how it is that you need to start looking at taxes. And once you move into a certain tax bracket, you go from 12% to 22%. And then why it's important for you to have a business mindset, because, you not contributing to this particular retirement vehicle is largely going to contribute to you having to pay the federal government more in taxes, and you don't even get the difference. And you can't see a difference in lifestyle because you jump from $75,000 to $100,000 a year, which is a 25% increase. You're beating the rate of inflation, but at the same time, you don't see a difference in what your money is doing. You can't see it taking you any further than your current circumstances. And you're trying to ask yourself, well, why? Why? And it's because you have a toxic relationship with money. And I'm going to help you to understand it all week long. Money, relationships. Money, relationships. We're going to combine the things that is haunting you the most and why you cannot break that glass ceiling and be able to get to the next level, because you don't understand and you can't see and you're ignorant. Ignorant meaning not knowing. You just don't know any better. But after this week, you should know everything. You should truly be able to understand and make more informed decisions as to how you can become a better version of yourself now that Anton from AntonDaniels.com is giving you the information. You join the Bag Chasers. I heard y'all had a meeting over the weekend. You should be awesome. You should be absolutely awesome. So let's get into this whole buy now, pay later. Again, link to the Patreon is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. If you need to kick it with me personally, email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com, okay? Let's get into this conversation, okay? I want to share my screen with you guys. And let's talk about buy now, pay later. And the reason why I want to talk about buy now, pay later is because not only is it a true gamification of how they can trick you out of your money, but also it's a framework for how you look at things and how you look at every single thing in your life. Everything that you do is buy now, pay later. Everything that you do is buy now, pay later. Let's break it down. So in Bloomberg this week, right, they did a feature, and I thought it was pretty awesome because I read through it. I skimmed through it. I said, I can't read the whole thing because I need to react to this live. Okay. But they saying that this buy now, pay later juggernaut is about to be tested. Now, the buy now, pay later model has been highly successful for Klarna, Afterpay, PayPal, so on and so forth and the likes, because it's allowed for when people can't truly afford the things that they want to buy on a regular basis. And let's say, for example, you go into the store or you going online and you're shopping, right? And you say, ooh, I ain't buying that because that costs $500. Well, if they get you to finance it and you can start to fit that in your budget somehow, because people are less likely to buy things in a lump sum, right? Think of a house, think of a car, think of anything. Think of those shoes. Think of that handbag. Think of anything that you buy, and if it does not cost any more than $100, you're more than likely going to finance it, or you're going to justify it in your mind why it makes sense for you to do so, because then you can afford the payments. You don't look at the penalties. You don't look at how much it's going to truly cost you. The only thing you care about is the payments, which means that not only do you have a toxic relationship with money, but you don't look at things from a business perspective, and you don't even care what it's truly costing you. The only thing you like is shiny trinkets. And as soon as we put a little shiny trinket in front of your face, let me show you what they do. Hey now. And you be like this. They just hypnotize you. Gotta finance it. Gotta finance it. Here's a Charger Challenger that's going to get you a lot of tickets, and you're not going to be able to afford the insurance, and it's going to cost you 18% interest. You want it? You want it for $1,000 a month? I gotta have it. Here's a Chanel handbag. Here's the new Jordans. The first option to pay on StockX is literally buy now, pay later option. Before you get into Apple Pay or anything like that, is literally buy now, pay later. You have so much stuff that you finance and you truly don't even know what it cost you. Let's deep dive into the article, y'all. We're going to cook today. All right? We're going to cook today. I hope y'all ready to do the work. I got some new stuff coming. We're going to wind up getting our dark boards and all of this other type of stuff. But until then, we're going to cook today. All right? So for 3 days each week during the month of April 2014, a seasoned product manager, an engineer, and a jewelry salesman. A salesman, a product manager, and an engineer. Let's break that down. All right? A salesman, an engineer, and a product manager. 3 people from different walks of life that have different expertise. They came together. You know how I say we better together than we are apart? They came together, right? And they wanted to hash out the features and the functionality of a financial product that existed only in one of their heads. The goal was to appeal to 2 constituencies at once: online retailers, who are always eager to convert more virtual browsers into actual shoppers, and consumers, some of whom didn't have credit cards, but they still want to get their hands on this product and pay over a period of time. So think about it. I always talk about this on a regular basis. It's 3 different types of people. It's a consumer, it's the business, and then it's the banker. The banker can take on multiple different forms. The banker at times is often trying to solve a problem. They want you to buy more, and they want to enable they want the consumer to buy more, and then they want the business to sell more. But they're making money on both ends. How can we get the business and we empower them to sell more products, and then we can get the consumer to buy more products? How do we give them the tools to be able to market? It's the same thing that they did with mortgages. It's the same thing that bankers did, right? They said, how do we get people to sell 30-year mortgages for us without ever having to run a commercial? And you fell for it. Let's continue. The product that emerged gave would-be users 2 options, both of them interest-free, which placed them outside of the credit regulations in Australia. The first was called Pay After Delivery, which let people wait 30 days before handing over their penny, not unlike using a credit card. And the second option was Pay Over Time. Pay After Delivery, you can wait 30 days, and then Pay Over Time, which let people split their bill into 4 installments, which is basically financing. And it didn't take long for Young and her colleagues to agree on the structural details. They need to let people stretch the payments over more than 30 days, but we didn't think that much longer period was necessary and looked at 60 days. 2 payments made it too similar to the existing paradigm. Payments roughly every month. The mental gymnastics for 4 was straightforward: half any number and half that again. Half, cut in half any number, and then half it again. 4 payments. They called the service Afterpay. So while you was over there running in the Victim Olympics and having a good time, they was over there trying to figure out how they can get you to spend more money. Let's break it down. While you were over there busting down that chick and having a good time, listen, half the time me and Rita are together, We are sitting talking about the different machines that we need to buy for the new manufacturing that we want to do. We're trying to figure out the dynamic of whether or not we should source certain things out or we should solve for a problem. We're figuring out what the new real estate is. She's sending me different deals. That's people talking to her, because I'm going to be honest with you. Rita, in a larger sense, is the face of what I do from a company perspective, because she's the one that interacts with people and she's the one that can get them to say certain things that I may not have time to try to mine out. Marriage is a business. They don't want to talk about that part of it, right? Marriage is a business because they so busy trying to get pussy that they don't understand that you can enable that person and you can enable that woman if you source out what her true gift to this world is and use that to be able to level up. In the same way, these three people, an engineer, a product manager, and a salesperson, we need to be able to pitch this product and how do we make it good for people to be able to easily use. The product manager then takes that and they say, okay, how do I package this into a nice, clean product in order for the consumer and the business to be able to push? And then the engineer puts it all together. It's just like sprinting. All right. Hope for flood. Well, we gonna skip. Paying for is now ubiquitous in Australia and fast approaching that status in the US, meaning that it's normalized. You know how we're going to mine this through. I need y'all to do the work today. Do you understand how nobody practically goes into the dealership and pays cash for a car? Nobody goes and pays cash for a home. They've made it so normal for you to even do a 30-year mortgage because they've programmed you into thinking that this is normal. When we look at an application, okay? Let me break this down for you. When I'm putting together an application, right? And I'm looking at everything that people have been doing and what their tendencies and their habits are, right? Most times, more often than not, I look at the natural state of what a person does. When you hold your phone, right, you're doing like this. It's much easier to do like this than to do like that. And so the first thing that we always say is hamburger menus are out, unless you're Amazon, because they got too many different menus and they got to be able to fit so much into this application. But a hamburger menu is the 3 lines that's at the top, often at times in the upper left-hand corner. And then you expand it and the menu opens and then you can see more things, right? I'm talking about user experience. I'm talking about understanding people and how we solve for things and how we get you to buy more stuff. But then at some point, somebody got smart and they said, well, listen, most people are right-handed, so why don't we move the menu to the right? Because when you're holding your phone, your thumb is literally on the right if you're right-handed because more people are right-handed. And then somebody else got smart and they said, wait a minute, most people's thumb is not 10 feet long, so they need to be able to get to that menu easily so they can surf faster and get to their destination more effectively. It creates a better user experience. And so when you go on Facebook and you go on Instagram and you go on all of these different applications, the menu is now at the bottom. Apple is literally programmed you. Now when their latest updates that's been out for an extended period of time, right? The search bar on the Safari browser is at the bottom now, moved from the top. Initially, it threw people off and they were like, man, this is weird because I'm so used to using it at the top. But they programmed you and they normalized how you use these applications because you didn't even know what you didn't know or what you needed until they told you to. They studied your human behavior. They studied your purchasing habits. They studied how long you're on an application. They use data, Google Analytics, often at times, in order to make a more informed decision as to how they can get you to do more things that they want you to do. Now we have Reels, we have TikTok, and we understand that people are just instantly scrolling up and down. So now you're just swiping left and right, similar to the dating apps. They took the same elements that were in a dating app and they moved it up and down and they said, here's a Reel, here's a TikTok, so on and so forth. And so you look at it and say, oh man, this is just an awesome application. In reality, there's literally teams, think tanks, design thinking sessions that is going on every single day that's trying to understand how they can get you to do more things on a regular basis. And this is the purpose of a product engineer, a product owner, an engineer, or a product manager, an engineer, and a salesperson. Those are the 3 key elements that you need in order to be successful. I'm breaking it down to you. You don't want to know, but I'm trying to help you to understand so you can make more informed decisions. Okay, let's continue. Normalized in America, thousands of retailers online and off. It powered the ascendance of Afterpay, which attracted investment from Chinese tech giants, U.S. investment firms, and so on and so forth. The model has become the flagship product. Think about it. Digital payment systems block bought the company in January for $29 billion, making it the most valuable acquisition in Australian history. The model has become the flagship product of buy now, pay later companies, lauded as much needed alternative and threat to credit cards and predatory lenders, and criticized as a gateway to drug to debt for young and inexperienced. Buy now, pay later represents one of the biggest, fastest changes to consumer credit in decades. Look, criticized as a gateway drug to debt. A gateway drug to debt. In this article, and I'm going to scroll down and we're going to go through it, it's disruptive. And the best way to make something disruptive is to make it addictive. Let me say it one more time. One thing that we learned from the crack epidemic is the best way to make something disruptive is to make it addictive. It means that it's so normal and it's so regular. And one of the reasons why they call something the red pill is because it wakes you up. It takes you out of what your normal habits are in order to expose you to the real reality of what's going on. When you go and look at these cars, okay, and you see the Lambo flying down the street, or in my case, a Porsche, the Mercedes, and all of this other type of stuff, what's happening is they're packaging it in a nice, pretty experience. And on the outside, you got these curves and it's sleek, and you got the headlights that beam and it do like this, and it can park itself, and it's got the sunroof that's completely transparent, and you jump in it, and it's got the diamond stitch leather and everything like that. If you rip it all apart, underneath it, it's a bunch of wires. It's a bunch of computers, semiconductor chips. It's a lot of programming, and it's a lot of downloads that's being sent to that every single day based off of your interactions and their understanding and translating of that data. And this is why data is so important, because data is money. Data is your spending habits. Data is your scrolling habits. Data is the things that you talk about on a regular basis. Data is the titles that go into some of these videos and some of your content. And then you go over and you say, well, wow, why are these ads popping up on my, because it's the data and the information that's giving them the insight into what it is that they can market to you. Okay, let's continue. You can buy now and pay later for just about anything, including aspirational big ticket items like Pelotons. Remember, everybody ran out and bought Pelotons during the pandemic? Don't worry about it. Designer couches, small things like socks and underwear, dire necessities like groceries and gas. And there's even small buy now, pay later companies that will help you buy a gun. Nothing like getting the gun debate going so they can get them gun sales up. Companies like Afterpay and its main competitors, Klarna and Affirm, often attribute their phenomenal growth to widespread distrust and dislike of credit cards. So they looked at you and they said, hey, listen, everybody is feeling a certain type of way about credit cards. Let's remix it. Remix. Let's get Diddy on the track. Lil Jon. Usher, baby. We're going to remix it, we're going to repackage it, and we're going to sell it to them differently. Never mind that this does not comport with the data. A study in September by TransUnion showed that buy now, pay later users possess more credit cards than the general credit active population. The narrative has been repeated so many times, it's become practically gospel. But a deeper look, and think about that. The narrative has become repeated so many times, it's practically gospel. And what can we relate that to? It's similar to when you go out and buy a house. The first thing they say is, how much do you want to put down, and do you want to do a 30-year mortgage? They don't say, hey, listen, You can avoid PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, if you put down at least 20% instead of the 3.5%. They say, let's just get you in a house. And you can do a 30. And if you live there, you can get that on your first house. And let me show you the finesse on how you can do it again. Nobody asked the question, what is this going to cost me in the end? How am I going to be impacted? Nobody asked that question. They just automatically sign up. And they tied that 30-year date to the same date that they tied and what they expected you to work in a factory and then be able to retire after 30 years. And here's the key. Here's the biggest key for y'all. Let me break this down before we continue. I know this is a lot, but let me break this down. Here's the key, y'all. Most people and most millionaires, all of their wealth is tied to mainly two things. Their home and their retirement. It's things that they can't even take any real tangible value out of. Their home and their retirement. So then when you see people, for example, and they make $70,000 a year and you say, well, they became a millionaire. And the context is that their net worth is $1 million, but their lifestyle is nothing like you see on TV. They can't even draw on that until they get 67 and a half, 69 and a half, and now they're raising the ages so that hopefully they don't outlive what it is that they put up in order to make sure that they live a comfortable lifestyle. Most people, wealth is tied into what they would deem as an asset. It's facts. Let me break it down for you again. The median income is not even really the median income. When you look at women, black women, for example, and an average black woman making $40,000 a year, and I talked about this a little bit, but I said I was going to deep dive into it. When you look at the median income and you say black women make on average $40,000 a year, black men on average make $47,000 a year. And then I come on the live and I say, that's not enough, guys. You're not even really going above water. You just treading water and you out here in the ocean. And they say, Anton, you have no clue what you're talking about. Who are you to tell us anything different? And the context is that they don't even really understand that that number is not even accurate for the average person. We're going to hurt some hearts today. That $40 to $47, $50, $67,000 a year household income, individual income, and then you go and you parse the data, based off of whatever it is that you identify, black, white, whatever, so on and so forth. Because white people ain't doing that much better. Let's be clear. White people are not doing that much better. It's hard out here for a pimp. That number is not accurate because it's actually skewed by the top earners. So when you take everybody, let's say you got this right here, right? And this is all beat up and toe up, right? And then you got this right here, and this is all nice and beautiful, right? And then you put it together, it seems like the average is actually $47,000 a year when in all actuality, the people that are getting all of the bags, they throw that number way off. So really the average is really only like $30-something thousand a year. Because the number is skewed. It's off. If you were to take all of the super rich people out of the equation, the number would be much lower because you have a lower average and a lower amount in which you divide into. Let me help you to understand like this, okay? If you had 10 people and they were all making $1, right? On average, those 10 people make $1, okay? Every one of those 10 people make $1. And then you throw one person in there that make $1,000. So then if you did the math, this is at a very basic level, C student perspective. If you start doing the math, right? The total amount for 11 people is $1,010. And so if you start doing the calculation, let me go ahead and pull out my calculator. If you do the calculation, right? I don't even know where the calculator is. Oh, here we go. So on average, the average person was making $1 when it was just those 10 people and it was all average. And then you throw one person in there that make 1,000, right? and then you divide that by 11 people, the average is really $91. So that would say the numbers are skewed, and they will tell you, well, listen, the average person makes $91. Never mind 10 of those of 11 people is only making a fucking dollar. But they'll sell you this narrative and they'll say, well, listen, Anton, the average person is 91. They're making $91. No, there's 10 people making $1 and then one person making $1,000. And that's why the numbers are skewed, because you need the context in order to truly understand what the position is. And this is why I say the middle class is going away. Nobody is going to really break this down to you from a C student's perspective like Anton. Okay? I'm trying to help you to understand something. They're telling you that the average person is making between $40,000 and $50,000 a year. And I'm telling you that they're making significantly less than that, which is one of the reasons why when people are getting old and the average amount that's inside of, think about it. When I tell y'all, I say, man, y'all better get the likes up. I'm over here teaching y'all. When I tell y'all, listen, the average retirement account is only $65,000. That means that when you retire, you got $65,000 total to figure out what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Join the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top. It's right there. Join the Patreon. The average account is $65,000. Now, that also includes people who have multi-million-dollar accounts. So if you remove the millionaire accounts out of that, what do you think that number truly is? It could be $35,000. It could be $12,000. The number is so skewed because you don't understand the context behind the data, and you read a report that's put together similar for you, that they present this nice, pretty thing in which I described it like the car. I showed y'all exactly why they in these think tanks, and they got all of these guts and all of this data feeding into it, understanding that you can't afford. As a matter of fact, they're looking forward to you defaulting on what it is that you do, because they make more money off of that. It's a balance. Servicers of the mortgage make more money when you late on your rent and you late on your mortgage payment. They want you to catch up. They just want you to be a little bit late because they know that you can't truly afford what it is that you're doing for a living. Let me go back before, you know me, I'll get into a zone and I'll just start going dark, and then we all just going to lose track of what we talking about because I'll start going off on people. I said, Anton, you're going to control that. Let's go down. First relates to the kind of regulatory arbitrage in which paying for products bypass consumer protections designed to prevent people from getting screwed or screwing themselves. Let me break that down for y'all really quickly, right? Last night, Jay Prince did 2 awesome shows. He was on on the Jay Prince for President on my regular channel, and then we was on Fight Club, right? And then I jumped on this morning on Fight Club and I said, listen, guys, because they, was different people was coming up. Hey, no, you need to protect people from themselves, Anton, or whatever, so on and so forth. And I have a delicate balance because I have a level of responsibility and leadership, right? I have platforms. I give people opportunities to talk and so on and so forth, right? And people will often at times come to me and say, Anton, why did you let them say that on their platform? They don't go to the people and say, hey, why are you saying that on his platform? They tend to hold the person in leadership accountable for the things that the people are doing. And it's similar to what's going on with student loans. People don't go to the people and say, hey, listen, why did you take out this student loan? They go to the government and say, why did you make it available to them to take out the student loan? Because they want a dummy-proof life from you so that you don't make the mistakes or do the things that's not in your best interest, even though you have your own choices. It's similar to relationships. Remember we talking about relationships and money, love and money. I went and seen Thor this weekend, Love and Thunder. It's similar to relationships. If you go with arranged marriages, culturally, and it's documented that you have a stronger case for staying together longer than if you were to choose for yourself. However, people still want to choose for themselves. And then they come on YouTube and they have conversations with me and they say, Anton, you don't know what it's like in these streets, but we still want our own choices. This is why it doesn't matter if you go with capitalism or socialism, because both are extreme versions of themselves, and there's never going to be a happy medium. There's always going to be a tug of war between the consumer, the business that's selling it to them, and then the person that's pulling the strings in the background. Because the consumer and the business person is never going to say, listen, let's hold ourselves accountable. They're going to go to the person that's pulling the strings in the background and said, why did you make this available to us in the first place? Look at what's highlighted. Prevent people from getting screwed or screwing themselves. Particularly in the US, buy now, pay later companies haven't been subject to much regulatory oversight normally applicable in entities extending credit. We have the same thing when it's going on with cryptocurrency. People are saying, don't regulate my industry. Stay out of it, because when the government get involved, it's always a problem. They had the same thing when it come to drugs. Hey, stay out of my trees. Just don't legalize it. We don't care what people are putting in it. But then they say, listen, we want to participate because we see that the war on drugs ain't working. It's a problem, and we can make money from it, but we going to raise the taxes on it. And then we're going to squeeze people out. And they say, listen, the barrier to entry is too high. I used to be able to buy it from my homie and sell it. But then the government is saying, listen, you can't just be selling anything, because what if you lacing it? It's always going to be a tug of war of being responsible for yourself and holding people accountable for your actions. Let's continue. Take the Truth Lending Act, a landmark act enacted in 1968 and amended many times since, which requires extensive disclosures for unsecured consumer loans split into payments over 5 or more. That law doesn't touch pay in 4. Think about this. We need regulatory bodies to make sure that if you take out a loan that you can't pay back, that we hold other people accountable for preventing you from doing the thing that's the worst for you. I need to make sure that I put things in place to make sure that you don't overpay for a basket weaving degree, even though you are the one that signed the paperwork. Second explanation has to do with how paying for taps into the human psychology and consumer behavior. We understand why you do what you do, and you are an impulse buyer. And the fact that you hitting the like button, which is free, you don't want to hit a like button on somebody's Instagram page, even though you like their picture, because you don't want them to get any satisfaction into it. That's the psychology. It satisfies behavioral economics, or economists call for present bias, which drives the desire for instant gratification. So you're willing to pay whatever it is. Listen, you know what the beauty is in buy now, pay later and credit cards? Is that people can get you to pay an egregious amount because you actually financing it. I advocate against credit cards. I advocate against even focusing on credit scores. You know why? Because I understand that the gamification of these things make you much more likely to find yourself in a space that you wasn't supposed to be in the first place. You're not ready for that. You're not ready to get a credit card because you don't understand how money works. You're not ready for it because you're not even looking at the interest rate. You're not ready for it because you can't do the thing that's in your best interest. And often at times, I have to protect you from yourself. So what happens is, if you have to pay cash for it, you're going to go in, you're going to kick the tires. Listen, people haggle with prices whenever they have to pay the full amount. Go and sell a used car, put it on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. Just test it. Have people call you and let them say, you know what? Listen, you put it up there for $3,000. They're going to say, listen, man, I only got $2,000. Hoping that you say, listen, the highest I can go is only $2,500. You're going to haggle with that. You will go in the dealership and you're going to look at that paint job on that Charger and the Hellcat, which is largely going to be your demise, because not only are you going to try to kill yourself in it by going too fast and showing off for your homies, you can't afford the gas, you can't afford the insurance, and the police is going to pull you over in it. But you're willing to sign your name on a dotted line if they can break it down into nice, shiny payments, which gets you to genuinely spend more than you normally would if you had to pay cash for it, which is why inflation is also being driven up so high. You see the trickle down effects? You see why it's important to understand how money works? You see why it's important to understand the psychology of people if you can get them to do the thing that you want them to do? Let's continue. Humans tend to discount the probability of bad things happening in the future. We'll lose our job or the car will need repair, making it hard to repay, and overestimate the probability of good things to come. We'll be able to work overtime, so on and so forth. And because we are much less sensitive to the pain of a price tag if the individual chunks feel affordable, we're much less sensitive. This is psychology. Sensitive to the pain of a price tag if the individual chunks feel affordable. Parting with, say, 25 of our hard-earned dollars today and then 3 more times in the future hurts less than parting with $100 all at once. We are willing to spend more in the aggregate. They don't care about what your financial situation is. They're focusing on whether or not you truly understand how money works. I have never in my life did a buy now, pay later, and I will never in my life do a buy now, pay later because I understand the psychology behind why people do what they do. If you start to understand the psychology of people, you can then become the banker. For those of you that are just joining, make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Let me break this down for you again. For those of you that are just joining, there's the consumer, there's the business owner that's selling to the consumer, and then there's the banker. The banker understands the psychology of the consumer and the business owner. When you start to understand people, you can become the banker. It's the reason why I tell y'all all the time, listen. If you learn to understand women, you can win in life because you apply the same principles to corporate America, to the business, content creation, and even your own relationship. And that's why people don't understand. They say, Anton, you've been married for an extended period of time. How would you know? Because it's the same principle that's applied across the board. The game don't change, only the players do. It's the same thing. Women have been the same way since the beginning of time. Relationships and money. Your toxic relationship with money. Women have been the same way since the beginning of time. The only thing that's changed is the players. Women are naturally more feminine, looking to be under a man, and no matter how much money they make, more often than not, they say, I would give all of this up to be able to work, to stay home and be up under a man that's a high earner, a high value man. Bro, we in 2022. You know women been saying this since the beginning of time? Women have been saying the same thing since the beginning of time. And you know what else has been the same? People's toxic relationship with money. Since the beginning of the time. The math don't change. The only thing that changes is the players. If you put a blackjack table out there on the street, people are going to walk up to it and put their hard-earned money down every single time. It does not change. Nothing changes. It's all the same. The only thing that changes is the players in the game. Let's continue. That in turn explains why merchants love paying for. But even as the industry has grown spectacularly, the number of people who've tried the services in the U.S. have climbed 300% every year. Not just total. The number of people who've tried the services in the U.S. have climbed 300% every year since 2018. Nearly everything about the business environment has recently turned more serious and challenging. Think about that, y'all. Any industry that you can get 300%, bro, if you can get a 10% growth rate consistently over time and you invest in a few $1,000s a year, you can get rich. 300% every year since 2018. There's a correlation, let's read this, between boredom, browsing the internet on your phone while lying in bed, and spontaneous shopping sprees. The correlation is you being bored, you laying in a bed, you scrolling on your phone, and spontaneous shopping sprees. So maybe it was no wonder that the BNPL, buy now, pay later industry took off as the pandemic dragged on. When you gonna snap outside of the Matrix, fam? When you gonna wake up and stop giving everything that you do and everything that you got going on over to somebody else? Shop online and you're bound to encounter offers from Afterpay, Klarna, Affirm to let you split up purchases up to $2,500 in 4 installments. You can enter the usual information, concluding with a credit card, debit card, or bank account number to pay 1/4 of the total price up front. The companies then use proprietary predictive models. They use proprietary predictive models to assess the riskiness of lending you money to complete the transaction. Requests get approved within seconds. An email confirmation invites you to download the company's phone app. The app allows you to track the remaining 3 biweekly payments, which can be automatically charged to the card or entered at checkout. Also functions as something more clever, an online shopping mall where you can browse the wares of brands that have formed partnerships to accept buy now, pay later provider as a form of payment. Copious eyeballs, dollars, and data flow as a result. So the question then becomes, when are you going to snap outside of the Matrix? I see my girl Azriel. She says, I have 2 credit cards. Only use one and pay it off every month. Well, here's the problem with that, Azriel. Let me break that down for you, baby, because I love you. The problem with it is still not that you're not paying the interest because you're paying it off every month, but it's, are you more likely to spend money on things that you would have otherwise conceded in if you didn't have that credit card? Because it's a mental thing. It's the psychology behind why we're doing what we're doing, right? The goal isn't to have you understand how things are going to happen. The goal is to get you to slip up. Because are you being more of a consumer? If we had no credit cards, if we had no buy now, pay later, this economy would practically go into a tailspin. It would be at a standstill because U.S. consumers are so egregious in their ability to be able to use credit, buy now, pay later, whatever form you want to talk about, and being able to make sure that they buy the things that they want when they want them, that we've largely all as a nation become the bankers to the rest of the world that is putting together the products. And so now the other side of the equation is we're now trying to move manufacturing back into the U.S. They just passed a $52 billion CHIPS Act so that they can start manufacturing semiconductor chips here in the U.S. so that we don't have any problems with other countries now that we having wars in Ukraine and China continues to lock down, which is preventing us from being able to do what we want to do when we want to do it. Because we've become a nation of debtors. We're a nation that makes money not off the projects or the products that we manufacture or the things that we create and the value that we add. We're a nation that now makes money off of other people financing what it is that they're doing for a living. And the only way that you even have a strong middle class in the first place is to have us selling things that we make here, a tangible product. The fastest way to make money, but also the fastest way to get rid of the middle class is to become the banker. Let me say that one more time for y'all in the back. The fastest way to make money and get rich, but also the fastest way to get rid of the middle class is to become the banker. Because you make money off both sides and they don't even know what's happening to them. Let me deep dive a little bit more before we go into the video. All right. Merchants benefit from accepting credit cards and pay a transaction fee averaging 2% because doing so increases sales. Buy now, pay later one-ups the incentive. Merchants pay an even higher fee, up to 6% for pay in 4. So the merchants, let me tell y'all how they make money on both sides. All right. The merchants want you to do buy now, pay later because it allows for you to
finance more, spend more, you're more likely to buy stuff in their store, especially e-commerce stores if you can buy now and pay later. Sales go up exponentially. And so often at times what they do is they pass that fee on to the consumer in the form of higher prices, or they make more money by doing higher volume. So they can lower prices because you're buying more, which makes it seem like you're getting a good deal. The consumer is getting hit because not only are they paying the additional fees that come along with buy now, pay later, as far as if you mess up, but also they're paying higher transaction prices, which also feeds into the rate of inflation. The more you buy, the higher the prices are going to be, unless the business can drive out the costs and then pass that on to the consumer. It's similar to the whole $15 an hour debate. Okay. In the $15 an hour debate, people think that they're making more money, but the more money they make, the lower and the worse their lifestyle become. Why is that? Because they don't understand the language of money and financing and fees and things like that. And often at times, the person that suffers the most is the people that are often protesting. So when you see people running the Victim Olympics in this new upcoming election, and you see them protesting in order to get rid of the student loans, and they protest them for 15, and then it's going to be $20 and $25 an hour. And then somebody going to say they should pay them a livable wage and all of this other type of stuff. What you're really seeing transpire and this complicated web of what money looks like is them protesting for their demise. You might have to rewatch this live stream again. They are protesting for their own demise. When you see people out here and they protesting for this and that and so on and so forth, often at times things become worse as a result. I'm telling you, you heard it here first. Do not. Wait a minute, y'all having a problem sending super chats? Interesting. I don't like that. Let me see what's going on out in these streets. What is happening in the streets? They said, is anybody else having a problem sending super chats? We don't like that. We don't like that. Let me make sure that everything is fine. We got to make sure that everything is good out here in these streets. Hold on, let me see. Blah, 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 blah. Everything should be good. I wonder what that is. I don't see anything. Listen, the Cash App is available if you want to support the program. I'll have to find out what the heck is going on. No, everything is good. We good. Natasha Vincent said it's good. Shout out to Natasha. Persevere Data TV sent the test. Nah, I think it might be y'all. Y'all might have sent too much money last month. Y'all got that buy now, pay later popping off. It is what it is. Let's get into this video, y'all. This is a video that was sent to me from you guys. And the video specifically highlights a man that makes $140,000 a year, and he lives in Bali. I think that's what it is. I think he lives in Bali. Shout out to Brock. Brock is holding us down, always holding us down. He lives in Bali. Thank you, Brock, for supporting the platform. I appreciate you, big dog. I see it, Yvette. It says sometimes adding links or words YouTube doesn't like, or even typing an extra long message will not allow a super chat to go through. Interesting. Very interesting. So let's I don't listen. If you got to buy now, pay later on your super chats, don't send it. Do they do buy now, pay later on super chats? Let me ask y'all a question before we jump into this video. Let me ask y'all a question before we jump. Shout out to J Ben. Says, wondering if I can buy this now and pay later. Not a $2 buy now, pay later. What y'all gonna break that up in 50 cents a piece? I wonder if I've largely avoided, before we get into the video, and again, link to the Patreon is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I got a new update coming in the Patreon today. I've largely avoided doing memberships on this channel. We got memberships for the Lapeef Network. I haven't done memberships for Fight Club or anything like that, right? I haven't done them on Anton Daniels and any of that. I'm gonna tell you why I have avoided personally doing memberships is because anybody that supports my platform, right? Anybody that supports my platform, I appreciate them so much that I'm always looking to give value to them. And so I have not been able to find the value on this platform or Anton Daniels channel or on Fight Club. Maybe I can find more value in Fight Club in doing it. I have not been able to figure out how I can add more value for y'all getting memberships on this channel. So, and this is the ethical part of doing business in a general sense, in that I am going to avoid doing memberships on this channel. The thing that I do ask y'all to do is like, subscribe, and then to hit the notification bell, especially if you're getting value out of this. You may not be typing in the chat, but I know that y'all tap in on a regular basis. I am going to avoid memberships on this channel because I don't see where you get any additional value at. I know y'all like supporting the platform, y'all support the channel, but y'all already give super chats and y'all already, hold it down, and y'all already make sure y'all subscribe to a lot of my channels and stuff like that. So I'm going to hold that off. Shout out to Renee. Renee says, my beautician told me she has some clients that use buy now, pay later on hairstyles. Wow. Really? Y'all can do buy now, pay later for hairstyles? For hair? It's over. It's over. When I was on DoorDash and they said that we deliver liquor now, I said, it's over. It's done. Shout out to Renee. O'Shea Lennox says, Anton, thank you for the insight. You are absolutely welcome, my friend. We're going to go up this week. It's going to be a crazy month. I'm going to add so much value to y'all this month. Spaces says, did you figure out a date for the next meetup? I did. I'm dropping that in the Patreon today. So we're going to get into this video. In the Patreon today, I am dropping a date and the location for the next meetup, okay? I'm not going to add all of the details. I'm going to add some of them, and then I'm going to continue to grab different things that I want you guys to understand as we go. So shout out to you, Spaces. Shout out to everybody that support the platform, but I will not be adding memberships at the moment until I can see additional value that I can add into y'all as a result of it. So if you want the exclusive videos, it's in the Patreon. A Discord is in the Patreon. All of the dopest content and the best available content is in the Patreon. So if you want to tap into that, then that's that. But I'm not going to do memberships because the ethical part of me says it doesn't make sense. And I'm not just going to do it just because I have the ability to do it. You guys are going to have to get some value from it in order for me to do that. So anyways, let's get into the video. Tito Smiles says, peace, Anton. How do I balance working and going to community college at the same time? I don't want to fail the class from having no time to study. You need to make sure that you have your calendar allocated and blocked off, because often at times what happens is we have time within our 24-hour frame, but we don't know how to manage it correctly. Your calendar, y'all gonna have to tap into the Patreon for that, because I broke all of this down and I break down how you need to structure your calendar. I actually got 2 videos in the Patreon that uses my calendar as an example, and then another one of how I break my day down. But it's managing your time effectively, understanding how much you need to contribute into that particular thing, school specifically, and then how you break down how you're using your 24 hours at work. Your calendar is going to solve for all of that. It needs to be color coded. It needs to be reoccurring based off of the things that you regularly do on a regular basis. And having a calendar is like having a personal assistant. It will solve for so many different problems in your life. B says, here's half of the comment now. I'll send the other half of the comment later. She buy now, pay later on her comment. Shout out to B. I love you, girl. I'm going to get a Boosie fade on credit. Y'all a mess. Mikhail says, I know three times workers. I'm going to ask if they allow pay in 4 of the... Oh, Jesus. Now I see what you was trying to say. Shout out to Mikhail. So let's get into the video, y'all, because I want to break this down and I want to deep dive into this because, again, we talking about relationships and money and how your relationship with money is toxic. All right. I love y'all. Thank y'all for holding down a platform. Let me go ahead and open up this video. Again, if you have not subscribed to the Patreon, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. New video coming out today. And if you need to kick it with me personally, email me at Anton Daniels 413@gmail.com. All right, let's get into the video.
The quality of life in Bali is crazy. For the same amount of dollars that you would spend in San Diego and any of the big cities, it is like living a life of luxury. My income has gone up exponentially since moving to Bali. In terms of how much I spend, my costs have gone way down. I'm never worried about money anymore.
Let's pause that real quick. So, I've never been to Bali. And I'm curious as to what it's like there. I know a lot of people like to go there for vacation, but I've never actually been there so that I can experience it for myself. But maybe I will sooner rather than later. But I'm curious. He's a 33-year-old man, moved from the U.S. to Bali and makes $140,000 a year. All right, let's get into it.
My name is Olumide Benro. I'm 33 years old. I relocated to Bali, Indonesia. I run a social media marketing agency, and I also run some of the largest conferences virtually and in person for digital nomads.
So if he moved to Bali from the U.S. in 2019, that means he's been there for 3 years. I wonder if the pandemic had anything to do with that. Or I wonder how he was affected by what was going on with the pandemic. Because if he moved there in 2019, he moved there before the pandemic hit. And then he's been living there for like 3 years.
Everything
This 9, this one.
Yes.
Your 9 or 10? 9 or 10?
10, one more. When I arrived in Bali for the first time and I saw all these smiling faces, everybody was like, hello, sir, how are you doing? People will almost take you to their home and cook for you the first time they meet you. I never experienced that in my life, in the United States or other countries that I went to.
Is the United States culture, to a larger extent for a lot of people, so toxic that we think that people being nice in other countries is outside of the norm? Because I would largely think that the norm is that people are nice everywhere, including the United States, and it's based off of the fact that you're nice to them first. But I don't know. It seems like every time somebody goes to a different country, they say, hey, they so nice there or whatever. And it's almost like a culture shock. But I don't know.
The way I grew up in America, I always felt left out. And because of being a person of color, I also felt that there were certain times in my life where I just didn't feel valued as a human being. But then when you step into a place like Bali, that all goes away. It went away from me.
The one thing that I do like about this whole thing is that he's getting out of his comfort zone in order to leverage the fact that he can work virtually, or he does work from home, or he does what he does for a living, and he can do it anywhere as long as he got a good internet connection. I like the fact that he's moving abroad and he's walking around and he's experiencing different things. And this is the thing that I tell people to do all the time. Stop just staying in your neighborhood. Stop just staying in that small town USA because you only make $40,000 a year. If you get outside of your comfort zone, or you do things that would push you to be a better version of yourself, you will be surprised of what it is that you can do. My greatest moments and my greatest achievements came from me not even understanding how hard it was going to be for me to go in a certain direction. Like, you don't even know what you can afford until you start to be exposed to and experience different things. And then you start to solve for it in your mind. You say, how can I afford it, instead of why can't I afford it? How can I starts to activate the different frequencies in your brain to start figuring out how it is that you can make more investments, how you can start generating more revenue, more money. And then your exposure often changes your dynamic, and your norm is different. And so I think that getting outside of your comfort zone on a regular basis, if you ain't even got to move outside of the US, but if you can do that too, especially if you're single. If you are a person that's used to small town USA, go live in a big city and experience all that has to offer and get outside of your comfort zone. If you're used to living in a big city, go live somewhere across the country. All these different experiences will make you much more effective in your life, because then you're exposed to things that you normally would not have been. And then it makes you a better person or a better version of yourself. I like this.
I've worked so hard to improve my situation in terms of my income and my businesses are doing well. The things that I pay for are all digital. You know, subscriptions to MailChimp. I literally have almost no cost, and my actual income from my online businesses went up.
Let me break down this budget really quickly. Let me move that out of the way. So rent and utilities is only $1,000 a month. Wow, that's really cheap. And I'm guessing that the place that he stay in probably is dope, but it's saying his rent and utilities combined is only $1,000 a month. Food, apparently he likes to go out to eat because he's spending $600 a month on food. So he probably eats good. Travel is $300 a month. Health insurance, $137. Transportation is $98. Laundry is $60. And what is that? Phone is $28 a month. Wow. I'm not really sure I see anything wrong with this at all. If he makes $140,000 a year and he's only spending $2,200 a month total, which is the equivalent of what, close to $25,000 a year, he's only spending $25,000 a year. He should be stacking his face off. Like, he should be doing so well. If this is what the cost of living outside, I don't see this any different, honestly, than being in the US. If you a single person outside of rent, it looks like he's just living a normal lifestyle. Outside of rent, it looks like he's living a normal lifestyle. This is what everybody's budget should look like, to be honest with you. I would say he probably spends more than I do on a personal level.
While I'm, enjoying living in an amazing place, my wellness is up.
Because think about it. He doesn't have to have a car note. He ain't got to have car insurance, gas prices. He probably is just, you know what I'm saying, getting around however that normalized way of getting around is in that environment.
Me to optimize my business. When you have a clear mind and your heart is centered in the right place and you feel good, you tend to have good results for your clients and the people you work with.
Facts. So he only got a 1 bedroom. I mean, he not living in New York or nothing. It looks nice, but he got a 1 bedroom. So, I mean, $1,000 a month don't sound that crazy to me.
I have a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and there's also a private gym downstairs.
Nice.
And there's a pool.
Nice.
And it just has all the amenities that you need.
Nice.
And they have a kitchen, a restaurant downstairs.
I told you, he can, and he deserves it, right? His ability to be able to live that lifestyle because he's minimized his costs and he wants to have better experiences instead of living a type of lifestyle that wouldn't be conducive for his budget, allows for him to be able to splurge and probably go out to eat every single day. I bet you he doesn't cook at all. I bet you he does not cook at all.
I don't cook.
Jesus Christ. Yo, I am so spot on. I literally just said it and he just, it's almost like me and him are talking. We like kindred spirits. I said, I bet you he don't cook. And he said, I don't cook. Yo, I am spot on.
I can cook, but I don't, because it's better for me to get work done, eat, and keep going. And for me, I always order, there's a popular app here called Kojak. It's like Go Food, Go Tailor, Go Massage. They have a Go for everything. And I use Go Food to order my food on a daily basis.
And he rents a motorcycle for $100 a month. I told you, he's just living a life. Y'all, listen. I have the big cars because it makes sense for me to have the big cars. And if you know, right? I mean, we talking about marketing, we talking about business, we talking about all of that, right? But if you're a regular person, and even if you have a high income, you can only drive one car, A, and then B, even people that I know that live in New York, because I know a lot of people that live in New York, and that's not even including the bag chasers that I go and visit in New York. A lot of those people don't even own cars. I know because the environment allows for them to be able to be more effective and active, and they save more time and they don't have to deal with all of the problems. When I went to New York the very first time, not this time, like past time or when I documented with Rita, when I went to New York the very first time, I seen that they had like manufactured cages on their bumpers or some kind of crap to prevent people from hitting the back and forth of their car. Luxury cars had like these bumper things on the front of it. I said, man, it ain't even worth owning a car out here. You get to where you got to get to slower. You got the extra costs associated with it. And in a lot of these instances, they got to buy parking spots. All you got to do is start walking. Catch public transportation. People are so afraid to do the thing and immerse themselves in culture. And you get to see more and learn more about the environment that you're in.
Need your motorbike to ride around Bali, it's very common. You can't walk around in these streets, trust me. You do not want to be walking.
No, I can't be nowhere I can't be walking. He spends 2 nights a week at a resort and it costs him $300 every month. So that's what he said travel. Travel is $300 a month. He spends 2 nights a week or 2 nights out of every month at a resort.
So you got to treat yourself, right? So every month I actually get myself out of Canggu, the busy streets of Canggu with all the digital nomads, and I go up to Uluwatu, which is a really nice area where it's known for surfing. But I don't surf. I don't go there for surfing. I go there because there's a really nice luxury hotel resort called Alila. The Balinese culture is peace. They have a mix, a Hindu culture here, where they are praying every day. They're always doing ceremonies. I don't understand it deeply, but when I walk by a ceremony or when there's a ceremony in a local guest house that I visit, I am like peaceful walking by it and I feel peace the rest of the day.
Hold on, y'all. I got somebody knocking at my door. Let's see. I think Rita got the service person. Who is it? I'm sorry, who? Oh, maintenance? Come on in, my friend. Pretty good. Here with the master. Yeah. Training? Yeah. Which way? In the bed. Okay. I'm still getting used to these parts. Yeah, no problem. All right. I had to have one of the beautiful things about living the way that I live is that I don't have to deal with any maintenance. I live a maintenance-free lifestyle. If a light bulb go out in this mug, get maintenance up here. Anything that happens, I need maintenance. And this is the reason why I live the lifestyle that I live. What's going on? Okay, cool. Just let yourself in and out. Do what you do, sir. All right, cool. Let's continue. The one thing that about this guy, though, is that that's interesting is that he said you can't be walking the streets. I don't like that. I don't like the idea that you can't walk the streets because I am a person that likes to wander and discover, and I need to be able to see what's going on, and I need to participate in what's happening in society. Lucid Experience says, although I may not agree with his stances, I continue to be a supporter because of useful life content like this. I had to take a rain check on the ATL show, but we will meet and rap one day. Shout out to the Lucid Experience. You see that? Supporter of the show, don't always agree with everything. I don't agree with everything that my mom says, but we absolutely love her. Thank you to Lucid Experience. Thank you. Always appreciate the knowledge from Daniel Harris. Thank you guys for always supporting the platform. Let's continue.
So I grew up in Nigeria only up until age 6. And then
I think Nigerians has taken over the world.
Moved to the United Kingdom lived in London from age 6 to 13, and then from age 13, my family, we won the green card lottery. We became eligible to be American citizens. So the entire family moved.
Thank you, Lucid Experience. I understood what you were saying. I understood what you were saying, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you for the 10 ball and the supporting 2 ball for clearing that up.
Moved to the US.
Hey, Dad, what's up?
What's going on?
My parents wanted me to be either a doctor, lawyer, engineer. This is very typical in Nigerian families, and for me, it was tough because those things weren't of interest to me. I was very creative. I think I wanted to create content.
Dude, look just like his mom. So he's traveled the world. He's traveled to Denmark, Germany, Mexico, and then relocated to Bali, even though he was born or his citizenship is here in the United States of America. I think that this is awesome. Listen, one thing that you have the ability to do as you continue to grow is if you are responsible, and this is why I don't force kids on people. I don't force a lifestyle on people. My expectation is for people to become the best version of themselves and have the options to do what they want to do it. When you have the freedom to do what you want to do, you often have greater experiences.
In order to get that, you actually have to invest in the local economy. You actually have to put money into Indonesia. And that's what we're doing. I have a real estate marketing agency, and we're helping people to actually market their properties here in Indonesia and in Bali.
Sounds like a finesse, but it's okay. I get it.
When I first moved to Bali, I was depressed for the first 2 months because I was in beautiful backgrounds, coconut photo like my friend that I used to watch on Instagram. But I didn't really have friends here.
Think about that. When he first moved there, he was depressed for the first 2 months. And part of the reason was because he was out of his comfort zone. Once he adapted and once he stopped being interdependent on a thing that he was used to seeing and being around, he started to truly be able to experience what was happening there in Bali. He said for the first 2 months, he was depressed. Despite the environment, despite the background, despite the coconuts, despite the water, dude was depressed in there. Y'all got to get outside of y'all comfort zone.
In a tiny place that was like a closet, I didn't go outside. So what made things get better was when I got a nicer apartment that I had a view of the ocean.
Yep, upgrade.
And the biggest thing for me was just learning how to create a life that I actually wanted. Not just because, oh, now I've landed in Bali, so everything's perfect. No, I needed a specific schedule of how to work, meditate every morning, be nearby to nature, and actually force myself to go out to nature, exercise regularly.
So basically what he's saying is that it's the same thing that I tell y'all when it comes to y'all relationships, not only with people, but with money. You need to discover who you are. You need to grow as an individual and as a person. You need to learn how to be uncomfortable and learn how to be alone before you can learn how to be with somebody else. And then it does not matter where you go. No matter where you go, no matter who you talk to, no matter what environment you find yourself in, it's going to be an awesome experience because you are whole, you are fulfilled, and you are not broken and being dependent on somebody else for your happiness. That way, when you get into a relationship or you finally get money, you don't need to go crazy, or you are not going to experience the ebbs and the flows and the highs and the lows that come along with being in that situation, because you're already secure, you're already fulfilled, you're already able to handle things from a character perspective. Whereas somebody else that get a lot of money, they're going to go out there and kill themselves because money made them more of what they already are. It exponentially multiplied who they was. When they finally get a woman, they're going to go crazy and they're going to be simping for her, and she's going to be able to have him wrapped around her finger because he does not truly understand what women are like, and he's so busy trying to please her instead of understanding who he is. And the minute that he experienced this, and it took him moving to Bali and being by himself, and some of y'all need to be by yourself for a little bit of time instead of keep jumping a relationship in a relationship, so that you can learn who you are and refine and focus and become the best version of yourself before you start to ruin other people and other relationships.
So for those wanting to relocate, I think the biggest thing that I would say is just be prepared to be able to adjust.
Yep.
Bali
See?
seems perfect, but one of the things is like pollution. There's a lot of pollution in freeway or the highway when you're riding on your motorbike. Another thing I'd say is in terms of preparing is your finances. Know exactly how much you're making every month and budget how much you're willing to spend.
I just did a show on that last week.
I've seen people go broke in Bali. The biggest advice I can
Not going broke while you're in another country. That's not a good look. That's unacceptable, sir.
give is have a solid, predictable income. So when you arrive, you never have to worry about money. You have the systems in place that constantly churn dollars, euros, lira, whatever it is you earn every single month. Because if you have an issue with money here, it will show.
That dude chilling.
I've been here for 3 years. It's been the most amazing personal growth, the most amazing time of my life. My vision board, says that I have a home in the Caribbean, I have a home in San Diego, and I have homes around the world.
Yep.
But I think something about Bali grounds me here. This feels like the place that I will spend the most time. So for me, home base in Bali, 100%, but then having homes in different hubs that I go to a few times a year is what I plan to do.
I think that listen, somebody find out what the tax situation is over there in Indonesia and in Bali. Because I think that he's even smarter than he's admitting and giving us credit for. See, a lot of people are not going to say because of the tax situation, we know why your hub is where it is. I think that this dude is dope, though. I like that. I like how he played it. I like what his situation was. I like that he's got out of his comfort zone. I like how he managed his money effectively. I don't see anything wrong with that. The only thing about me, though, is I like the city. I like the city. I like to experience different places, and I do plan on living in different places and getting different experiences. But the reason that I like the city is that I just like people. I like being around people. I like experiencing people. I like talking to people and all of that other type of stuff. Being in isolation, that doesn't appeal to me at all. It don't appeal to me. I like the option to be able to kick it with people and link up. So anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Again, the best day to join the Patreon is on the first day of the month. There's one tier left. And then I'm also dropping an exclusive and an update in the Patreon, and it's going to be a video format. So we're going to switch up the format. We upgrade and everything so that I can add the most value into y'all life. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We're going to get August popping. Listen, we in the second half of the year. This year is flying by. It's an opportunity for us to do great things, align ourselves with people that's going in the right direction. Let's not wait to the end of the year and then we start making New Year's resolutions again. Let's better understand where our money is going. Let's be more intentional. Let's align ourselves with groups of people that's going in the direction that we're going in. And then make sure you're doing the work. I love you. I appreciate you. For those of you that joined the Patreon today, make sure you start at the bottom, work your way up, and then join the Discord because that's where all of the money is being made. All right? I love y'all. I'm going to talk to y'all later. I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here, though. Make sure you share this with your family and friends because we don't want to be rich by ourselves. We're going to turn this up. We're going to win in every way possible. I love you guys. I appreciate you. We are going to continue to do the work and get to this bag. Let me know if y'all need anything. Have a phenomenal Monday. Q&A is tonight.